White Lotus Season 3, Episode 4, Hide or Seek. A very appropriately titled episode, as one of the biggest scenes of the episode and one of the biggest scenes of the season, in my opinion, is Gary and Timothy Ratliff having a conversation on the boat where Gary explains that everyone in Thailand is either hiding from something or looking for something, and that it's all one big game of hide or seek. And he says, which one are you? Are you hiding or seeking? And I think if you look at all the characters on this season, all of them, more or less, one way or another, fall into that bucket of looking for or hiding for something. So we're going to run down the list of all these characters, go to our trusty flow chart of all the different people on White Lotus Season 3, and find out who falls into which category. Now, we'll start with the obvious, Timothy. Because of that conversation, Timothy and Gary. Gary is already the guy who's hiding. He keeps saying he's just in... he's in retirement and he just was tired of the rat race, but we know that he is the ultimate out here just hiding from his murder of Tanya. Now, I can't decide whether it's clear that he's on the run or if he just successfully inherited her fortune after her death and is just hiding in Thailand to try to keep a low profile, or if it's like he's on the run because people start to put the puzzle together. So does he have this yacht and this house at the top of the hill all because he inherited the money, or is he just on the run trying to just avoid any sort of arrest or capture for doing it? I don't know, but either way, he's hiding. He is the guy who has been hiding in Thailand. Now, Timothy is staring down the barrel of this huge financial scandal. And I think now, I will say it's been 3 episodes now of we know he's about to get hit. The phone is ringing off the hook. He's taken the lorazepam. He's almost on the verge of telling Victoria a few times. He's having these moments with his kids where he's come to Jesus moment with them and how much he loves them. But we're still not getting to the confession or the fallout, and they keep on, teasing that more and more. But I think he's kind of looking at a guy like Gary, this is Ghost of Christmas Future. This is me. This is my only way out, is to be like Gary, to live overseas and hide, for the rest of my life. After he has the phone call with his lawyer who says, we're fucked, dude. Kenny Wynn is going to jail. Timothy's still focused on are my assets frozen? Am I going to lose my house? And he's like, bro, you're about to lose your life. So the reality of that is setting in through his benzo haze. And I think Timothy is looking at Gary like, it might be time for me to start hiding in Thailand the same way that he was. So you got Timothy and Gary who are hiding. Now, who falls into the looking category? You can look at it a couple different ways, but I would say Piper is a good example of someone who's looking for something. We find out that her plan is to try to move to Thailand, to live here for a year in this monastery. I don't even know if I buy that whole story. I think that there might be more to that because it just seems so weird and far-fetched, and it started out as this interview, and then all of a sudden it turned into, I'm going to live here. And maybe she is hiding from something as well, and that's where her whole plan comes in. But it feels like at the moment she is looking for something, that she doesn't identify with her family. She hates her brothers. She's not like her father. She loves them, but it's not really her, and their lifestyle does not really fit for her. And she wants to go live in this Thai monastery to connect with the world. So she's using it to look for something, to try to find something better. Belinda, I would say, is looking for more. She is, she's gone from White Lotus location to White Lotus location, looking for her career, trying to establish her wellness career. I would say that she's using Thailand to look for more. Rick is clearly looking. Rick is a seeker right now. He is looking for the man who murdered his father. And in his mind, he claims, I want to tell it to his face. I want to let him know how much he's ruined my life. I think, everyone gets the feeling that he wants to do a lot more than that. He's so on edge. He's so hateful and upset about it. You almost could make the argument that he's doing a little bit of both. He's looking for this man because he's hiding from the reality of, his life being ruined by having a mother overdosed and a father who was murdered. And so, he's running from all that pain. And that's where Amrita comes in with what I think is one of the best scenes of the season as well, where Amrita says to him, "You've touched me in a major way, and I just want to let you know you can let go of that story. You can break the karmic cycle. You can go find peace in this life." And you can tell it's starting to resonate with Rick a little bit, and he hears it, but he's so hell-bent on hunting this guy down that he just can't seem to let it go. So Rick might fall into both categories, but I think, leaning towards he's obviously seeking and trying to track down Jim Hollinger. Jacqueline is another one. I would say in general, all three girls are kind of looking. Jacqueline is looking to kind of recapture her hotness and her party life. She's also both. She's hiding from her shitty husband and running away from her life that she's propping up as this, beautiful, glamorous Hollywood life, but we know that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. And while she's there, she is now on this mode of I'm looking to, still be young and hot and coveted after having the weird moment where they're at the old folks resort, and she's like, I want to go out there and I want to party with my girls. Lori also looking as, she's kind of at this stale spot in life. She's not getting promoted at work. She doesn't have the family. So she's out there looking for more. And those three girls, I believe there's also something to do with the notion of three with White Lotus season 3. That a lot of these things are occurring in threes. At one point in this episode, Chelsea flat out says it. Bad things happen in threes, as she was almost a part of the robbery and then gets bit by a snake. And now she's like, I feel like something bad is coming. There's threes. If you look at Guy Tak and Mook, this is this episode was the third time that he's asking her to go on this date. Everything seems to keep happening repetitively in terms of threes. A lot of people are floating the idea of the monkeys representing the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. And I feel like the three girls might fall into that. Whether or not they would directly relate to that hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil with their personalities, I don't know. But there's this trio, and there's this plot line is unfolding in threes. Bad things are occurring in threes, and so there might be a little symbolism there, as the girls are both hiding from some of their shitty life at home and seeking something out in Thailand. It looks like there's a good amount of both hiding and seeking, and then you got Victoria. Is she hiding? Is she looking? She's looking for her lorazepam. She is looking for her pills, which she needs to keep on her at all times at this point, because between her and Timothy downing those benzos, there's not enough to get them through the week. So Victoria, you can throw into the looking category, as she is constantly searching for her prescription. Now, as far as each character and each group of characters, as their stories unfold in this episode, they all start to, continue to come to a head, where we have the three girls who are hell-bent on going out and partying, feeling young, being wanted, and being party girls again. I'm at the point where I think Valentine is setting these girls up. I don't think that that's a novel theory. I think that a lot of people feel that way. I feel like he is using them. He knows that they are kind of obsessed with him. And whoever he's introducing them to, I feel like this is one big setup to rob the rich white girls who are here in Thailand looking for a good time and don't realize what's about to hit them. I mean, the guys that he's introducing them to, if those are not, Thai criminals, I don't know what is. So we got weird tattoos and ridiculous fedoras and shiny shirts, these foreign guys who are like, yeah, sure, let's party girls. And I think, one's famous. This one's a rich girl from Texas. Let's take advantage of these women who are clearly being very naive and stupid. I think there's a great deal of symbolism and maybe foreshadowing while they are in the streets of Thailand and these kids are attacking them with water guns. And it felt exceedingly tense for a scene that was just kids with water guns, where they were like, stop shooting us, and guns don't always hold just water, and they're screaming and running, and they're scared, and they're waiting in the store, and Lori's like, they're waiting for us. They're standing there with the guns. I feel like there's a strong chance that Valentine and his local friends are setting them up for some sort of big robbery, and that might go awry. And that's where maybe some of the shooting happens. I think that there's a strong chance that those girls and their involvement with Valentine and the locals is what leads to the big, the big conflict of the season with the gunfire that we saw in episode 1. Belinda and Gary also obviously a huge possibility for the gunfire, as we know. Belinda is doing her research to find out that, yes, she was right. Gary and Greg are the same person. Tanya McQuaid was murdered. So she's starting to put the pieces together with her research. And at the end of the episode, we see Gary on the computer researching Belinda on her Instagram, looking at pictures of her and her son. So we see those two are kind of on a collision course, both of them researching each other, putting all the pieces together, realizing that they're both a threat to each other. The blender and the protein shake, I think, is Chekhov's gun for season 3. They are just, every episode, he's either looking for the blender, talking about the blender, talking about these protein shakes, forcing Lachlan to drink them. Here's my thought. Here's my theory. Timothy Ratliff is clearly about to self-destruct, okay? He now has a gun in his possession after stupid fucking Guy Talk leaving that gun out there. Like, Guy Talk has got to be the worst security guard of all time. Forget about putting out the gun and just leaving it there. How about the fact that he just leaves his post to go walk homegirl home, who I don't even think has any interest. I think if there's another person who might be setting up somebody, it's Mook setting up Guy Talk. She knows that she has him wrapped around her finger, and he keeps being like, let's go on a date, let's go on a date, I love you, let's go on a date. And she never says yes. She continues to let him walk her home and flatter her, but she's never like, yeah, let's go, I'm in. So I think that there's a chance that she is setting him up as well. But the mere fact that he leaves the gun out and then also just leaves his post when there was a fucking armed robbery like a day ago. He's getting chewed out by his boss. He's on the verge of getting fired. All the other security guards are making fun of him. And he is so pussy whipped to just go for a walk. He leaves his post and leaves the brand new gun out. So now Timothy has the gun, and I think there's a lot of foreshadowing there. Maybe he's the one who has a meltdown. Is he the one firing bullets when it all pops off? Who knows? But I think Timothy is about to self-destruct. I think Timothy is going to consider suicide. I think Timothy is going to consider suicide by taking the rest of those lorazepam pills, grinding them up, putting them in a shake, and drinking it. My thought is that while he's preparing that, something goes awry. He doesn't end up drinking them. Saxon or Lachlan does. I think that Lachlan is going to try to be like, I got to keep my brother happy. Let me drink this shake. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Drinks the shake, poisons himself. He dies. Timothy is now racked with guilt. His financial life is coming to an end. His family is now ruined. That would be my big, grand, ridiculous White Lotus plot twist, is that there's poison in that blender, in that shake, because something's got to happen there other than Saxon just being a douchebag about drinking his protein shake. So that's my prediction on that front. Now, Goggins is obviously, there is the biggest, deepest storyline in my book is with Walton Goggins playing Rick. And I think they're leaning towards a redemption arc for him, that in the end, he's actually not a bad guy. He's an asshole, and he's bitter and jaded and abrasive. But at the end of the day, he actually, and he's kind of an asshole to his girlfriend, but also he does love her, and he treats her well, and he recognizes that she loves him, and he doesn't want to be this way, but he just feels like he has to see it through, and he has to track this guy down. And so he, also has the most potentially like obvious storyline of if Jim Hollinger is back at the resort, or if he is, finally trying to get revenge, whatever may happen. It could be him popping off to get vengeance for his father who's been murdered. But I think that Rick is going to see a redemption arc. I think that there's maybe even some sort of, he saves Lachlan or Saxon. like, to like a father and son thing going on that he sees, and he's like, I don't want my kid, anyone else to feel what I felt going through this. Like, maybe Timothy's about to die and he sacrifices himself because he's like, I don't want those kids to die, to have a father who died, something like that. I just think there's a redemption arc on the horizon for Rick. And I don't want to call it necessarily redemption, because I just find him to be a very sympathetic character. I think he's gone through a shit ton and he just feels nothing, and all of his, douchebag behavior is not warranted, but like, you understand where he's coming from. So there's a big, big payoff coming one way or the other with that one. I think that something weird's about to happen on this yacht. I think that Saxon and Lachlan with Chloe on the boat, who basically is, this hired gold digger, if not full-blown hooker, and she tells Gary, we're just going to drop you off at home and take your boat. And Gary's like, Jesus Christ, you're not even trying to hide it. Like, you don't even pretend to like me for me. You're just laying it on thick that it's really just about the money and the perks. I think that Saxon, Lachlan, the Thai girls, and Chloe are about to have some sort of weird, there's got to be some bizarre sexual, catastrophe that happens every season of White Lotus, and I think we're about to see that. When Saxon went over to those girls and said, swastika, I almost pissed myself, man. That was such a funny line. He is such an unbelievable douchebag. That moment, and Timothy Ratliff showing his dick when he started to yawn in his robe. I mean, no show on television shows more dick than White Lotus, but Timothy Ratliff's dong just hanging while he's in that benzo haze. Piper is scarred for life. Saxon's just kind of laughing. Victoria's shaking her head. And I thought that they kind of wrapped things up with, again, a bleak... The tsunami that's about to hit the Ratliffs is about as bleak as it gets, where Victoria is saying, man, that yacht was just filled with con men and bad guys. And, it's just that was a lesson for tax evasion and criminal activity. And, it's an important reminder that there are bad men out there in real life, and it's not just the movies and it's not just TV, that there are men out there committing crimes in real life. And Piper, you're so lucky that your dad is not one of them. I mean, the guilt and the collapse that is about to hit Timothy. He's thinking about the people at the club. He's thinking about his money, his house, his family, his reputation, and everyone on that boat. Gary is a guy who's, when she says, I wouldn't be surprised if there were murderers out there. It's like, Gary's murdered someone and is hiding. We got the guys who are given the lessons on how to, hide your, cheat on your taxes. We've got, everybody is already kind of going down that path, and Timothy Ratliff is, staring down the barrel of it, literally and maybe figuratively and maybe literally at this point. So it's the thing is, we got several episodes left, and like, we know what the deal is with Timothy Ratliff. So like, how much longer can they continue to just drag this out? We know, he's got to crack soon enough, but we've got 4 more episodes to go. We're only halfway through. So a lot on that front. And then my favorite potential theory, and I've heard this from a couple people. I think it's patently ridiculous, but a couple different people have said to me that they think the monkeys will be the ones doing the shooting, that the monkeys are going to get their hands on the gun. And let me just tell you, for a show that is completely whacked out and you never know what's coming, on the one hand, that would be something. Just being like, holy shit, it was the monkeys. On the other hand, if this whole thing, with all of these intricate storylines about love and family and crime and drugs and business and life, if it all comes down to there are monkeys shooting people, I don't know about that one. On one hand, I'll be laughing my head off, but on the other hand, I don't know if that's where I want it to go. So I feel like Gary is going to try to kill Belinda at some point. I feel like he's got to nip this thing in the bud. I feel like Timothy Ratliff is either going to go on a murder spree or a suicide spree or some sort of murder-suicide, fiasco. I think that the white girls are about to be set up I think the White Girls and Guy Talk are about to be set up either in a similar plot or two different plots. And Rick will be the biggest question for me, whether he follows through on what we can clearly tell is like a murder revenge plot, or if he does break the karmic cycle and listen to Amrita. And so the question is, who ends up dead, and is it for good reasons, bad reasons? Is there a hero? Is there a villain, or somewhere all in between? And I think that with this episode of Hide and Seek, where you learn that everybody is running from something, but seeking for something. Some people are trying to better themselves. Some people are trying to deny, who they are, what they are. I think that it could be a little bit of both, the heroes and the villains playing out from the Hiders and the Seekers, as we are now in the back half of season 3. So give me your predictions. What do you think? And let me know who's the Hider, who's the Seeker for everybody in season 3 of White Lotus.